Hey Ottawa, this is Annalee Rice with Royal LePage Performance Realty in Ottawa, Ontario, and this is your Monday market snapshot for Monday, May 8th, 2023. If you didn't catch it last week's update, go back and check it out because I had lots of charts and trends for the month end and showing you what's happening in the market. Every week I provide lots of information on what's going on in the real estate market in Ottawa, and I hope that you find this useful. First, let's look at the citywide stats. The number of active listings was pretty flat this week, just down by 2. We still need more listings to keep up with what's happening with the sales. Sales, similarly, were very flat, just down by 3 compared to last week. Most notably, it was detached homes and condos that had a little bit more sales, which balances out the active listings being down in those categories as well. This is our chart format for the same data. We've got the sales and the active listings, that's the red and the green, staying relatively constant, but you'll notice that there is a slight rise in the number of conditionally sold properties this week. So I expect that perhaps next week we'll see a bit of a jump in the number of sales. So for the first time in 3 weeks, we see an increase in the number of new listings. I noticed I've been noticing it for a little while, but have you noticed that there's about a 3-week trend? It peaks and then it drops off for 3 weeks, and then it peaks and it drops off. So anyways, it's just something I noticed. But this week we had 448 properties that were listed for sale, and 85% of those, which is a bit higher than normal, which was 379 properties, were new to the market. So that's the highest we've seen all year. And then 15% or 69 of the properties were relists, which is about the same number of properties being relisted. It's just a smaller percentage because there was more new listings. So it's a good jump in new listings, but it doesn't translate into more properties on the market as we saw in the last couple slides. This is partially due to the conditional sales being a little higher, so they're just pending and will show up as sales in the next week or so. But also with the end of the month, there's a lot more cancellations and expirations of listings. Okay, so this one is showing us the percentage of properties selling with conditions or without conditions, and our ratios are staying pretty similar, even with the increasing competition for properties. I will note that most of the unconditional sales are ones that are selling within the first few days of being on the market. And of the properties that sold this week, 25%, and that's a bit of a jump, 25% were on the market for 7 days or fewer, and 67% of the homes were on for 30 days or less. Okay, now we're going to zoom into the different regions. And if you haven't really looked, these are the different areas that we look at: Central Urban Region, Canada, Stittsville, Barrhaven, and Orleans. In the Central Urban Region, we're seeing a few additional listings in the detached and townhomes this week, and sales were down just slightly from last week, though the number of condos has remained pretty high for the last few weeks. In Canada and Stittsville, we're seeing a slight increase in the number of homes actively listed for sale across the property types. I highlighted the townhome market last week, and here it is again. Of the 21 sales of townhomes with only 40 homes on the market, now is the time to get your townhome. If you have a townhome and you're planning to list, now would be a great time to get it listed, make it look fabulous, price it right, and it'll sell. And I have noticed that the prices are rebounding. So here's a little bit of stats on that. The average sale price for townhomes at the peak of 2022 was about $740,000. The lowest point in the average sale prices was in December 2022 at $586,000. And then this month, May, so it's only a week of stats, but this week so far in May, we're seeing the average sale price at $672,000. So it's definitely rebounding. Okay, next up in Barrhaven and Riverside South, we're seeing a slight decrease in the number of actively listed properties for sale. Like Canada and Stittsville, the townhome market is very tight. 21 sales and only 38 townhomes on the market. So similarly, I'll look at the prices that we saw for townhomes. So The prices are rebounding. Peak sale prices in 2022 were at 730,000. The bottom average prices were in December 2022 at 583. And then so far this month, we've seen about 628,000 for the average sale price. And in Orleans, we see a drop in active listings across property types. And like the other suburban markets, Orleans is also seeing price gains for townhomes amid a tight market. The peak price in Orleans in 2022 was 689,000. The bottom price in December of 2022 was 546,000. And right now in May so far, we're seeing an average of 604,000. So which area of the city doesn't matter to you, I don't know if you've noticed the trends, but Orleans is always going to give you the most house for the dollars spent, lower prices in Orleans. Okay, so here are the detailed statistics of detached homes across the city. We're continuing to see the days on the market for property selling creeping down. The days on the market for actively listed properties remains elevated as compared to the sales days on market, as it's mainly new listings that are being sold and they're being priced right and presented well, and they're selling quickly. Here are the stats for the townhomes across the city. And for the second week in a row, we see that the average days on market for the sold townhomes in the central urban area is below 10 days. And so this week, I looked at them a little bit, and 5 of the 9 sales in that area still sold with conditions, which is great. Though 6 of the 9 properties did sell at or above the asking price. And here are the complete numbers for the condominiums across the city. Our days on the market continue to creep down for those properties that are selling. Okay, here's my new chart for this week. As promised last week, these charts represent the ratio between the close price to the original list price. And essentially that means how close to the list price or asking price are homes selling. The red line on each of the 3 charts represents the 100% mark. So you'll see that in the first month of the chart in all 3 categories, they were very high. We were up at around 104, 103% for detached and townhomes, and about 101.5% for condominiums. This was in the first month of the chart is May 2022, and that was the tail end of the hot spring market, and also where we were seeing properties being listed low with the intent for multiple offers and above asking prices. So this was sort of the point where people were starting to transition, or homeowners and listing agents were transitioning to pricing their homes more realistically where they were actually expecting to sell. And so after that, we start seeing that people were listing more realistically, and the close price to original list price ratio dropped off. So at the bottom, which was around the end of 2022, we'll see that for detached homes, it was down at about 97%. And townhomes, it got down to just below 98%. And condominiums, it a little bit more volatile, but down almost to 97%. So what we're seeing the last 4 months, 3 months for condos, but the last 4 months, we're seeing the ratio is starting to climb back up. Right now for detached homes, we're back up at about 99%. And for townhomes with that really tight market, we're seeing that it's almost up at 100%. And for condominiums, we're still lower. It's about 98%, but it has climbed up from what it was before. Remember that all of these are averages. So there are homes that are selling over asking price, and there are definitely still homes that are selling well below asking price. But on average, the ratios are starting to creep up. And happy to say that so far I'm still seeing that houses are still being priced fairly at a reasonable level. They're not being priced low with the intent to try and get a whole bunch of offers and overpricing and stuff. Not overpricing, overbidding. So hopefully that's going to remain so that people can look at the asking price and judge it off of that. Wow, that was a lot of information on the last slide. So if you found that a bit confusing or if you want more clarification, please get in touch. If you enjoy these updates, please follow along on either my YouTube channel or you can see them posted regularly on Mondays on Instagram, business page, on Facebook, or often on LinkedIn. And I hope you enjoy a fantastic week. We've got beautiful weather this week, and the tulips are all out. So get down to Dow's Lake or downtown Ottawa to see the Tulip Festival. It's coming soon. Have a great week.